Seahawks.
Welcome to the Seahawks Sunday postgame show. Along with Sam Adkins, I'm Paul Silvi. The Hawks get it done today against the Raiders, 22-21. A couple of clutch plays on the special teams and some clutch play by Jon Kitna.
Wait, go back.
Can you believe
Is
that?
There?
They actually, well, you know, weeks past they didn't get anything done. I'm going to give credit where credit is due.
You the man.
That was a huge field goal by Todd Peterson on a cow pasture of a football field.
And a bonehead play on the part of Joe Bugle not going for a field goal when he could have put them up by 5.
Yeah, what was he thinking? I mean, Cole Ford's not going to kick a 29-yard field goal. He missed a 25 earlier in the game, so I figured, you know, I guess that's what he figured.
Sorry, I didn't mean, you were on a roll there.
No, I'm sorry.
As you were.
I'm just going to go back to my camera here, and as we resume here on my particular point of view of this game, the Seahawks do get it done 22-21. Jon Kitna, as we saw in the preseason, he came out in the second half of the preseason and got it done. Today, kind of felt like that. You know, he comes out in the first half, kind of struggles a little bit, gets used to playing in that farm field, and then all of a sudden it starts to come together for him in the second half. 4 straight scores for the Seahawks, and they certainly he certainly got his confidence.
Those are very difficult conditions to play in. When, like you say, it's a pasture out there, that mud, that slop, and you could see in the first half both Jeff George and Jon Kitna's footballs had big tails on them. I mean, it's hard to grip the ball. As you come through, that ball is slipping out of your hands, and you're doing everything you can to hang on till the last second. But I thought he did an unbelievable job. The first few throws, you could see that he was a little bit nervous. You know, he wasn't setting his feet strong. But then after that, when he started throwing the post route, is when you said, he's ready to play now.
Yeah, and even the weather down there, it was pouring at times down there. But Guard Swanson standing by live in Oakland. He joins us. Guard.
All right, thanks a lot, Paul. Of course, as usual, the locker rooms are closed right now. They should open up in just a couple of minutes. We've talked to Jon Kitna. He will be our first guest out, and we can't wait to talk to him. What an afternoon he had, especially I talked to him after the game, and he said he finally settled down in the second half. The balls were a little bit drier, didn't rain as much in the second half. And then he also said that this defense played great. You know, at one time in the third quarter, in fact, after the third quarter, the Seahawks defense had held the Raiders to just 3 yards, in fact, shut them down in the second half. And he said that actually kind of lifted his spirits up a lift and make him feel a little more confident out there, and it certainly showed. But again, we are still locked up here. Hope to have Jon out here in just a couple of minutes. Paul?
All right, Guard, we'll check back with you. You know, Kitna with 239 yards passing today, most of which in the second half. You have to be happy for him and happy for his wife and his dad sitting up there in the stands. You know, it was a fun day for the Kitna family and the Seahawks family as a whole.
Well, because Jon is kind of one of those guys that everybody likes to be around. I mean, he's just a loose, fun-loving guy, and he's just happy to be there. You know, he said, I'm behind Dennis Erickson because he's the guy who gave me a chance when nobody else would. And, you know, quite frankly, I didn't think I belonged here. And, you know, as I watched him there in Oakland, I remember him last year in his first preseason appearance where he got in the game, it was late, and his first few passes, you say, man, this guy's such a much better player than he's shown out here, but his heart was racing and everything, and now the guy's settled down and got a victory.
And could we look for him next week against the Niners?
I think so.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time at the for the final regular season game for the Seahawks. Let's check out the first half highlights. You know, when you get to Oakland, you know, you're going to see this. Raider fans appeared ready for the Seahawks. Jon Kitna appeared ready for his first start in the NFL. Hawks looking to build his confidence early. A little rollout. Carlister Crumpler makes the catch, and all of a sudden it looks like this is a pretty good little game plan for Kitna, just kind of a little chip and putt. The Hawks defense kind of shoots itself in the foot. Jay Bellamy with the alleged interception.
Hey, good. Oh, sorry, I was a little late on my cue.
It did not count. Offsides on the Seahawk defense. So they were not happy with that. They had to bring that one back. Jeff George gets a second chance. Look at the catch by Orlando Truitt. Sam, both feet inbounds.
The referee right there says no. Darrell Williams' contact forced him out of bounds. He wouldn't come down with 2.
Truitt again. The Fred Thomas coverage. Fred looks like he was all over him here.
I'm seeing picked all the way.
Man, so he hauls it in. It's 14-0 in the first quarter. Raiders on top. Jeff George avoids a sack. He hits Tim Brown. C.J. Richardson strips the ball loose. And Michael Barber recovers for the Seahawks. The start of a topsy-turvy second quarter. The Hawks give it right back. Kitna back to pass. Kind of throws a flare here. A little too long. And Terry McDaniel picks it off, kind of just cradles right under. He fumbles, but the Raiders get it right back. So the Raiders and Seahawks playing a little give and take. George gives it right back. Picked off.
And
Darrell Williams is not a running back.
No, he says, I see the flag. I'm not going to take a hit.
He's done his job. Sam Adams jumps offside, so the Hawks with foiling a couple of picks in that first half. Then Kitna comes right back. He hits Mike Pritchard, who gets, look at Albert Lewis on the inside lane. Oh, man, just catches Pritchard. Good play, though.
I think I can. I think I can.
Would have set up a field goal, but it got blocked. The Raiders, you know, the prior field goal attempt made it, but the Raiders had encroachment. They had to kick it again, and so the Raiders kind of helped themselves by jumping off sides. Then the touchdown pass to Ricky Dudley. 28 touchdown passes for Jeff George at this point in the season. And he looked pretty good. The Raiders looked pretty good. 21-3. And as good as the Raiders looked, the Seahawks did not look like they were ready to play this game in the first half. The stats, maybe a little misleading.
A little bit misleading in the fact that amazing recovery in the second quarter, because their first quarter numbers were not all that impressive, but they made a big comeback, 184 yards total offense in that first half, helped in part by that big reception, Mike Pritchard.
And Jon Kitna finding his guys and knowing how to move this Seahawk offense in the second half. He joins Guard Swanson. Guard?
All right, thanks a lot, Paul. Well, the story of the day, obviously, is Jon Kitna, and you and I talked just a few minutes ago on the field, but what a day you had on the field, and you certainly settled down in that second half.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I give all the credit to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He's, you know, somebody you can call on when times are like they were in that first half, and, you know, a lot of people were probably questioning whether I should even be out there, but, you know, I just, you know, stuck with my faith in him and my faith in my teammates and my coaches, and was able to pull it out.
A lot of rain in the first half, not so much in the second half. The balls were a little bit drier. Talk about your second half and how you settled down.
You know, the coaches just started calling some quicker throws, three-step drops, and things where the ball comes out quick. And, you know, the receivers, you know, what can you say? They were wide open. It wasn't like I had to pinpoint many of them. You know, they were just wide open and making plays after the catch. And so, you know, it was just a matter of getting in a rhythm.
First play of the game, you complete a pass, and did that help at all get some of the jitters out of there?
Oh, yeah. You know, I thought I was going to be a lot more nervous than I was going into the game, but, you know, of course, that helped a lot, getting that first one out of the way. But then when you miss a couple in a row and you throw a couple of picks, they all come right back. But, you know, we were able to hang with it, and like I said, my trust in God just was able to pull me through.
And how about last night at the hotel? I'm sure it was tough sleeping last night, wasn't it?
Well, you know, I tried to tire myself out by going and playing video games with Steve Broussard and stuff, and used a lot of energy doing that. But, you know, came back to the room and was able to pray and read my Bible a little bit. And I really didn't have much trouble sleeping until about 5 o'clock. I woke up, and all I could think about was the game, and it was tough to go back to sleep.
You know, one of the things the Seahawks really like about you, obviously not the way you can read defenses at your young age, but also how you can move and get out and run and throw on the run.
Yeah, you know, I wasn't able to do a lot of that today, but, you know, I just think it adds another dimension when you don't know if the guy's going to be standing, you know, 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage every time. It slows down the rush a little bit, I think, and, you know, I just think it adds another dimension.
Were you a little bit worried about the speed? Because you said in Barcelona you haven't played there for about 4 months. You haven't really played since the preseason, and you're worried about the speed of the Raiders and just getting into an NFL game.
Sure, you know, it was my first game, and you know, I didn't know what to expect. I knew the game was going to be faster than it was in the preseason and definitely faster than the World League, but I think the preseason and the World League definitely helped prepare me for that.
Paul Silvi wants to give you a high five through the camera, so just kind of go like this.
Hey, Paul, I also want to say, you know, to my cousin Greg, who's in the hospital right now, you know, this game was for you, and I love you, and you know, keep praying, and God's going to pull you through.
All right. Thanks, Jon.
Thank you.
That's Jon Kitna with a splendid game here in Oakland. Paul, back to you for now.
All right, guard. He's a silly man, isn't he? Jon Kitna with a chance to say hi to everybody today, and we're giving him open mic.
That's
right. Open mic here on Seahawks Sunday for Jon Kitna because he had a fabulous second half in his first NFL start. So what more can you say about him? I mean, he got it done today under some extreme conditions. Luckily, the Raider defense, which has been pretty porous the second half of the season, finally showed his true colors in the second half as well.
It really did. I mean, and the Seahawk defense as well. Greg McMacken made some amazing adjustments at halftime, shutting down the Raider passing game. They were hitting a lot of passes over the middle in the hook zones. He made some adjustments, started to force them to throw out to the flats, and they were not getting completed.
And you talk about the second half going the way the Seahawks wanted it to go. Opening kickoff of the second half, things started to happen. You kind of had a sense that maybe the Seahawks were going to get this thing done, especially with a guy like Kitna who has it just seemed to be instilled inside him. The fumble here on the kickoff, and the Seahawks make their own breaks. We talked about special teams and how bad it's been of late, but you got to give them credit today. They came up with some big plays, and then Kitna, beautiful pass to Joey Galloway. Albert Lewis didn't turn around in time. Kitna and his wife Jennifer on the left there, and or that's just Martin, his dad, on the left. It's pretty easy to tell who's who. Jon Kitna on the quarterback draw. They don't get a chance to call that too often with the Seahawks. With the mobile quarterback today, made it happen, and then Chris Warren rumbles in for the touchdown, 21-9, or 17, I should say, at that point. And then back come the Seahawks on a 4th down. The Raiders try to go for it. They could have kicked the field goal, as we mentioned. Peterson and the Seahawks get back. They do kick a field goal, a 49-yarder. Look at the emotion from Dennis Erickson as the Seahawks lock it up, 22-21. And the Seahawks getting it done on special teams. Todd Peterson should be commended because, you know, we talk about the special teams struggling. Todd Peterson staying after this week, the week before, working with Ron Stark on the holds and trying to get those field goals and that whole motion down, and he got it down.
And you look at Dennis Erickson and that jubilation, that elation, and as he's looking around going, is there a penalty? Tell me there's not a black cloud. Tell me that this can be true.
They got it done. 22-21 the final. We'll have more from the players from Oakland, and we'll check around the NFL, so stay with us.
Dateline Sunday, it's the invasion of the polar bears, ferocious and hungry. Does this tiny town have a giant problem? Dateline Sunday, 8, 7 Central.
So Eagle Hardware helped design your new bathroom, huh?
They figured out with us all of this stuff, right hand, left hand. They have such a big selection. You can say, oh, not that one, this one, or this one isn't big enough for you. And the lady says, well, just get in it. You sort of feel stupid. You're sitting in this store and people walking by and, oh, look, Frank, there's someone in the bathtub here.
Eagle Hardware and Garden. More of everything.
Premier tub and shower doors. Distinctive styling, deluxe formed hardware, and contemporary glass patterns. Premier at Eagle.
Banbridge presents the 18-karat gold Rolex President. The Rolex Datejust in stainless steel, a gift from Banbridge that's wrapped in a Benny Bear.
Your personal jeweler, Banbridge.
Excuse me, can you flock this phone? I'm thinking about giving it as a gift, and I want it to look real nice.
Have you thought about a gift box?
Right now, you can get this Sprint PCS phone made by Samsung. After $50 rebate, that phone's only 99 bucks. Act now.
You want me to flock that phone?
Well, I'll give you this phone, and you can give me a plaid tree.
Plaid tree? How about you give us 2 phones, we give you a plaid tree. 3 trees for a phone.
Flock. You get 50 bucks off.
50 bucks off. Oh, it's ringing. Got the machine.
Well, does it sound clear?
Yeah, it's my message. It sounds like me talking to me.
This is the home team at King 5, and this is the kind of news coverage more people count on.
Tradition. For almost 50 years, King 5 has been Western Washington's team for news, and we're very proud of that. Community. I've lived here almost all my life, so I share your interests in this place we both call home.
Gene Anderson, King 5 News. Coverage you can count on.
Welcome back to the post-game show. Seahawks winning 22-21 today in Oakland, snapping a 4-game losing streak that was seriously looking like it could be 6, but today they snapped it.
And the way they did it, it was incredible because they kept fighting back after the interception was called back, after Jay Bellamy went back. And I think Jay Bellamy is a guy who has really stepped up, stepping in for Benny Blades. He's now feeling comfortable as a starter. He knows he's going to be in there, and he's kind of a spiritual leader, and he made some big plays.
Well, you can see the big smile on Jay's face today when Seahawks, even when they were down, Bellamy was smiling and having some fun because he knew the momentum was on their side and they were getting it done. Defensively, Michael Sinclair, first defensive lineman for the Seahawks to have double-digit sacks in back-to-back seasons. So the guy's had over 10 sacks, and he joins Guard Swanson live in Oakland. Guard?
Well, thanks, Paul. We're going to talk about that big sack in just a couple of minutes. But first up, what a comeback win for you guys. You're down 14-zip in the hole, and things were looking kind of ugly for a while.
Yeah, it was looking pretty ugly. We had a couple offside that neglected some interceptions, but I thought we came back in the second half focused, and we shut them down.
You shut him down, like we mentioned before, 3 or 4 yards in the third quarter, and then Jon Kitna played well, and then you were talking also about Jay Bellamy. He runs back a touchdown, and then you kind of made a mistake on that play.
Well, yeah, I mean, I jumped off sides. You know, I should know better. I mean, I'm a veteran now, not a young pup, but I thought for the most part we kept our composure still when we made those mistakes, and really basically shut them out in the second half.
As Paul said, you get sack number 10, double digits for the second year in a row. I mean, that feels pretty good, doesn't it?
Well, it does feel pretty good, because the only guy to do it in the Seahawks history is Jacob Green, so I think that's pretty good company to keep.
How big of a win was this for you guys? Out of the playoffs, but when you look into the future, you look into next year, and you got the Niners next week.
Well, I thought it showed great character. I mean, even though we're not going anywhere, we could have easily laid down and say, well, this one doesn't count, we're not going anywhere, but we know our guys, we fought, and we came out here with a victory.
You kind of like getting dirty and muddy in this sloppy kind of weather?
Well, I didn't at first until I got all dirty. I was like, I might as well go ahead now since I'm already dirty. But, you know, that's sort of one of those games where that's the way it's supposed to be played. Everybody had a good time. You know, I call it the Mud Bowl, 97. So we won Mud Bowl 97 this year.
Well, your wife, Betty, by the way, Paul and Sam, she watches the postgame show all the time, and we interview Michael all the time. And she says, Michael, if you do another interview, you got to put a shirt on it. Now, why was she saying that?
Well, she don't want, you know, all of Seattle to see my thick pecs. I mean, you know, simple.
Those aren't bad.
Oh, no, we kid around with it, but, you know, just one of those things. You put me on the spot, man.
All right, Michael, good luck against the 49ers next
thanks,
week.
man, I appreciate it.
All right, that's Michael Sinclair. Paul, back to you for now.
Standing next to you, guard, he really looks big.
And even bigger next to you.
Ooh! I think the air conditioner just kicked on.
That's right. This is kind of like the holiday show here, because this is the last Seahawks Sunday postgame show.
Song.
So everybody's a little punchy today, huh? Oh boy, but Sinclair and that Seahawks defense did a nice job of stopping Napoleon Kaufman, who in games past has lit the Seahawks up a little bit, and today you could hardly tell he was on the field.
Well, the muddy conditions as well, I think, affected Napoleon Kaufman, because he's got such quick feet and relies on the dry track to be able to make his cuts and his plants. But they were also going into this game focused on number 26. We are going to run to the football, not let him get up ahead of steam, and close those gaps as quickly as possible so that you don't give him room to shake you loose.
How about with that defense? You know, these guys are down. They give up 21 points in the first half alone. What is Greg McMackin talking to these guys about? I mean, McMackin has showed his strength this year as a defensive coordinator. He's making the adjustments at halftime. What kind of things is he telling these guys and giving 21 points?
The plan will work. Here's what they're trying to do. Here's what they're doing out of these formations. Now what we're going to do is when they're in these formations, we're going to take away the middle of the field, force them to go to the outside, because that's what the Raider offense is built upon, is Tim Brown running those crossing routes. Well, you didn't see Tim Brown coming across the middle. They started having to force him to the sideline and doing things like that. But I think they did a good job of forcing them to try to run the football with Napoleon and then going to the passing game.
That worked. I mean, they shut him down completely in the second half, thanks to Joe Bugle going for it on fourth down. You know, you have to wonder. I mean, earlier in the pregame show, we talked about how maybe his job is safe.
Maybe Gard could run over to that locker room and find out why.
An interview with Al Davis to see what he's thinking right now. But
no, he's talking to Tim Brown right now.
We're going to hear some from the players of the Seahawks as we continue here on the show, and a couple of shutouts today in the NFL. A couple of real surprises as we get into week in and week out. It seems like there's a few more surprises in the NFL. First, a King 5 News update.
It's been a blustery day around western Washington.
Strong winds have blown into the sound, whipping up the sails of several boats in the water. There have been some reports of wires down. No word of any damage, though. Is there any reason for you to be concerned? John Miller will have the forecast for you tonight at 5.
Several hundred people in Tacoma are spending the weekend unable to use their telephones. U.S. West officials say water apparently seeped into one of their cables, shorted out all the connections. About 700 feet of that damaged cable is now being replaced. U.S. West says the majority of its customers should have service by tomorrow.
50 years after it was dropped by Britain's Royal Air Force, German officials defused a World War II bomb. Today, 26,000 residents of one small German town were evacuated to shelters for their own safety. Traffic on the Rhine River was also brought to a standstill. It took officials about an hour to defuse the bomb. Closing arguments start tomorrow in the second Oklahoma City bombing trial. Prosecutors are trying to convince jurors that Terry Nichols, along with Timothy McVeigh, carried out the bombing. Nichols faces 11 counts of murder, conspiracy, and weapons charges. If convicted, Nichols, who's 42, could be sentenced to death. McVeigh was convicted on identical charges, and he's been sentenced to die. His appeal is pending.
There is now a new member of the first family. Today, President Clinton welcomed the new first pooch. The 3-month-old chocolate lab got his first walk around the White House grounds with his new master. The president still has no name for his new 4-footed friend. The White House, we're sure you're wondering about this, says Socks the cat, taking it all very well. Coming up on King 5 News at 5, they have been a popular holiday advertisement for the last couple of years.
But now one person is bringing the polar bears from the screen to reality. Now let's return to Paul, Silvi, and the Seahawks postgame show right after these messages.
We at BMW would like to point out that our new motorcycle was not designed to be ridden indoors. For safety reasons, straddling the rider is not recommended. I wouldn't do that.
The only thing more unpredictable in nature is people, and I deal with both. You never know. Someone could be calling for a $25 titanium ice screw or a $25,000 expedition to Mount Everest. So I can't afford to miss a call. If I do, well, that means money. That's why I value GTE. Even out here, I know my calls aren't being dropped. Oops! Dropped. It's a bad word.
Presents the Seiko Kinetic Quartz Arctura. The Seiko Ladies Dress Watch, a gift from Ben Bridge that's wrapped in a Benny Bear.
The Diamond People, Ben Bridge.
Kids love fresh, great taste and fun at Taco Time. And Mexi Fries are a big part of the fun. Warm, crunchy, yummy Mexi Fries are fun to dip and share. Enjoy them with a way cool toy and a meal. Or enjoy them as a meal all by themselves. Hurry to Taco Time now, where the fresh, great taste and fun go on and on until the very last Mexi Fry is gone.
Welcome back to the postgame show. 22-21. The Seahawks get a late field goal from Todd Peterson to pull it out against the Raiders. Guard Swanson standing by live in Oakland. Guard?
Yeah, Paul, pulling one out against the Raiders, you know, just beating the silver and black just kind of feels good, doesn't it, Kevin?
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, these are like one of our big-time rivals, and it was nice to beat them twice this year, and that's something that we haven't done in a while. And the credit goes out to everybody on this team for actually going out there and playing hard and not just folding the tents, like anybody could have done when you're not playing for the playoffs.
And how about the play of Jon Kitna? He certainly settled down in that second half, and you would know a lot about that.
Yeah, he's he came in there, he's a little excited, and which is great. And I told him that I've been looking forward to playing with him because I just after seeing what he did in the preseason, and I thought it would be a fun game. And he turned it out, turned it up the second half and made it fun for everybody. And did a great job. Not too many guys come out and throw for over 250 yards their first start of their career. And just did a great job. Really happy for him.
Certainly nobody wants to jump the gun on Kitna, as you said, over or close to 250 yards. Yeah. Does this guy have it, you think?
I don't know. He's a young player, but from what he did today, he did a great job. And Dennis was talking about him being the quarterback of the future. Whether that's the case or not, I don't know. But I think he'll play in this league for a while. And you were opening up some holes, and the running game looked a little explosive today at times. Yeah, I mean, it's something that we've been struggling with. We've been sporadic and. But we came out today, and we still struggle a little bit, but, we did well, had over 100 yards rushing, and that's something that we haven't done in a while, and we actually scored a rushing touchdown, so that was pretty big.
Yeah, especially when you see Chris Warren, he gets the call, and he's cracking at 8, 9, 10 yards a carry.
Well, when Chris gets the ball, when he's running the way we know he runs, you can't stop him. He's going to get 4 yards just by, carrying the ball, and anything after that's a big bonus for us. And he did a great job of reading the holes and things like that and turning upfield when we needed it. And the thing about Chris is he's a big back. He's a hard guy to stop, and you're not going to bring him down on the first hit.
And now you go back home for another team from the Bay Area, the Niners.
They come back home. They're playing exceptionally well this year, and they clinched the spot a long time ago. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of attitude they come up to Seattle with. But our goal is to worry about ourselves and make sure our attitudes are right. And we want to finish this thing up, as winners, and show a lot of character and poise and win this thing like a bunch of professionals.
You and I were talking just before we went live here, and we were talking about how you've been getting dinged up a little bit. And I sit in the press box, and they always say Kevin Mawai with a knee contusion. What is a knee contusion?
A bruise is basically what it is. I took a shot on the knee today, and I didn't know if I'd be able to go or not. But just one of those things. If you're hurt, you can play. If you're injured, you can't. And then, fortunately for me, I was just hurt. And unfortunately, I wasn't in there when they scored the touchdown, so I wasn't too happy about that. But I'm healthy, and that's the biggest thing. And just get ready for next week.
All right, good luck against the Niners. All right, that's Kevin Mawai for the Seahawks. Back to you for now.
Okay, Guard, you talk about Kevin Mawai and the rest of that offensive line. Really, you could tell today that they were starting to get it together a little bit because they've been battered and bruised all season.
They really have, but again, they came out with another new lineup trying to find out how they can replace and get some stability in that offensive line. But one of the things that we haven't talked about is the fact that when Kevin Mawai went down, Frank Beatty moves over to center. Well, he's just starting to learn that center position, and it makes it hard for the quarterback because the ball comes up differently from each and every center.
And credit to both Beatty and Kitna for not letting it affect their transition today. But Chris Warren, as they alluded to, Chris Warren seemed to be running with a little bit more oomph today, for lack of a better word.
It's called want to. All of a sudden,
is that what it is?
He hadn't been there. He hasn't been the feature back in a while. And he said, I want everybody to know that I still haven't lost it, that I still have some skills left and can get some things done in this league.
And you can tell that he was running with a little extra something today, and Lamar Smith went in there and tried to make some things happen. Steve Broussard trying to do it on special teams, but Chris Warren carrying the load today, the bulk of it for the Seahawks. And after a while, that started to help Kitna out, you have to believe, because they had to start actually looking for the run.
Well, you could see them. They kept trying to bring Albert Lewis off of that corner. When they would spread the field, go 4 wide, then they're waiting coming off of Jon Kitna's backside because they know that he's not looking to the hot side on the left. So they would start bringing him in, creeping him in. Well, then they started hitting the runs. The way you beat the blitz is you run the ball, the quick hit, the quick pitch, and I think they did a nice job of making adjustments. They figured out what the Raiders were doing and then did things to counter to beat them.
And how much of Kitna's mobility today actually affected the way the Raiders approached the second half, at least? I mean, were they at all concerned about him breaking out of the pocket and him running?
When you talk to the Raiders, nobody knows anything about Jon Kitna. They had heard some things. They'd heard about his preseason, but they didn't really know what kind of a player he was. It's hard to evaluate off of preseason. And I think today they saw a guy that had some fresh legs and could do some things, and it was really evident when they ran the quarterback draw down by the goal line.
All right, let's get into, just for a minute, we touch on next week's game against the Niners. This is a game that, the Niners could give or take, but it's the Seahawks that can really set themselves up for an 8-8 finish. And can we look at Jon Kitna going into that game as the starter? Is there any need to start Warren Moon as beat up as he is?
I don't think there is. I think that they now say, okay, let's see. That was one good week. Now let's see what you can do next week against the Niners. Let him get some confidence so that they know that they have a guy with the foundation to be a quarterback in this league in the future.
And they're creating a quarterback controversy before the season even starts next year.
Yes, that way you can have something to talk about all off season.
Okay, let's go back down to Oakland. Guard Swanson standing by live. Guard?
Thanks, Paul, with Jay Bellamy. And Jay, you certainly seem to be putting games together. You keep getting better and better, and another good one for you this afternoon.
I'm just going out playing hard, just letting the ball come to me like it did today. Plays coming to me, I just want to make it.
How about just beating the Raiders? Michael Sinclair said it's just fun to beat the silver and black.
Oh, it's always fun to come down here. You got all the crazy fans, everything's going on behind the scenes that people really don't get to see. So it's exciting to beat the Raiders.
And then talk a little bit about the play. I believe it was in the first half. You pick off the ball, you go about 65 yards or so, and it's called back. And that one just stung a little bit, didn't it?
It stung. I was excited just to celebrate in front of their fans, but once we come back, we just got to keep playing.
Yeah, at the end of this run here that we're watching right now, you did a little pose in the end zone, didn't you? You got in their faces, you just got to flex for them?
I don't really remember what I did. Things happen so fast out on the field. I did a little something, but hopefully I won't get laughed at or clowned in the locker room next week.
A couple of weeks ago, a lot of players were talking about playing for pride. Is that what this game was about today?
Oh, most definitely. You're playing guys that you see a lot. See them in the offseason, just want to go out and perform well and have the edge over them when you see them out in the offseason.
And now you have Steve Young next week, another great quarterback.
We'll face the challenge. Our defense is up to it.
All right, good luck next week. All right, that's Jay Bellamy. Paul, back to you.
Jay talking with confidence, as that defense should be. I mean, they've got a whole half together where they didn't give up any points. And you touched on it earlier, Jay Bellamy and some of those other DBs that stepped in for the injured players like Benny Blades and you know, Fred Thomas even has been showing some good signs.
Well, the way he bounced back after getting burned in the end zone, he's in perfect position to make that play, doesn't get up because of the muddy field, doesn't knock the ball away, but then you saw him get up and knock the fourth down pass away, which sealed the victory for the Seahawks.
The Colts played the Dolphins today, and the score of the game was 41-0. I'm not even going to tell you who won. We're going to check around the NFL, so stay with us.
We certainly hope you don't miss 007's new BMW in the movie Tomorrow Never Dies.
The only thing more unpredictable in nature is people, and I deal with both. You never know. Someone could be calling for a $25 titanium ice screw or a $25,000 expedition to Mount Everest. So I can't afford to miss a call. If I do, well, that means money. That's why I value GTE. Even out here, I know my calls aren't being dropped. Oops!
Dropped. It's a bad word.
This holiday season.
Bond. James Bond.
Let the mayhem begin. When it comes to action, when it comes to adventure,
Don't get any ideas.
I'd never dream of it.
no one else comes close.
Lucky for you, I stopped by. Grow up, 007.
Tomorrow Never Dies. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday.
On the next American Journal, a teenager leaves her newborn baby to die. Now, hear the emotional testimony in court as the mother expresses her remorse.
And if I could take it back, I would.
And find out the punishment. Then, heads turned when Oksana took home the gold for figure skating. Heads are turning again. We'll tell you why. You have an appointment with the next American Journal, Coast to Coast.
Monday at 7:30 on King 5.
Welcome back to the postgame show. 22-21 Seahawks today. In case you're just joining us, Todd Peterson with a late field goal to help the Seahawks pull it out. Seahawks with just a great second half today against the Raiders. Kansas City, the Chiefs continue to roll as they push on down to the final game of the season, try and lock up home field throughout the playoffs. Coach Marty Schottenheimer liking what he sees today. Something you may have seen before. Marcus Allen with a touchdown run, 7-0 Chiefs. Later, Andre Rison trying to make the catch in the end zone. He runs into some equipment. He hurt himself, but did later return. Game tied at 7, and Rich Gannon hooks up with Federal Way's Link Dawson. Link making the touchdown grab in the corner. Great catch. 14-7 Kansas City. Third quarter, the defense takes over. Todd Philcox in at quarterback for San Diego. Derek Thomas says, DT takes him down, safety. Chiefs playing great when it matters. Kansas City cruises 29-7. If Denver loses tomorrow night in San Francisco, the Chiefs have home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. Indianapolis coach Lindy Infante trying to keep Miami from earning a playoff spot. He's also hoping to meet Dolphin wide receiver O.J. McDuffie. He gets his wish. Oh, man. Dolphins in punt formation. It's going to be a fake, but the only person faked out is the guy who's supposed to run it. Bernie Parmalee checked out on that play. Indy led 10-0 in the second when they played a little game called Touchdown Ken Dilger. Tip pass hauled in, 7 yards out, 17-0 Colts. 2-minute warning, Jim Harbaugh back to pass, and it's touchdown Ken Dilger. Wide open, 31 yards, 27-0 Indy. Miami hoping to put points on the board before halftime, but Dan Marino gets sacked. Ellis Johnson recovers for the Colts. That leads you to touchdown Ken Dilger. You've heard it before. Harbaugh threw 4 touchdown passes in the second quarter.
See him?
I don't know what he's big enough. Lawrence Phillips made his Miami debut. Was frustrating. 13 carries, 36 yards, 1 thrown ball at an Indy player. Miami gets smoked by lowly Indianapolis. The final 41-0. You thought the Dolphins won that game. I know you did. It's the Dolphins' second worst loss ever. They still can make the playoffs by beating New England next week at home. Things ugly at the Meadowlands. Really ugly. The Jets hosting Tampa Bay. Bucs win puts them into the playoffs. They couldn't help themselves. Oh, boy. Really hard stuff going on in the Meadowlands. All-Pro quarterback Trent Dilfer did not have an All-Pro day. Otis Smith picks off this Dilfer pass, 45 yards for a touchdown, 10-0 New York, second quarter. A few moments later, Dilfer connects with his favorite target. Problem is, it's Smith, and he still plays for the Jets. This one goes for 51 yards, 17-zip, the Jets on top. Opening kickoff, second half, Leon Johnson takes it at the 1-yard line. Will he play it safe? No.
Oh,
hits him blocking.
To others. And he could go all the way.
I'm back from my refreshment. The final 31-0 the Jets. 9-6 Jets control their own playoff destiny. A win over Detroit next week puts them in the playoffs. Not a bad turnaround after going 1-15 last year. The Bucs do get some good news. Carolina loses to Green Bay. That puts Tampa Bay in the playoffs for the first time since 1982. Norman Chad was right. Jacksonville clinches a playoff spot in the AFC with a 6-point win at Buffalo, but would need Pittsburgh to lose by 64 points next week to have a chance to win the AFC Central Division. If you follow that at home, Baltimore hangs on to beat Tennessee 21-19, the last game ever at Memorial Stadium. Thankfully, Eric Zier throwing 3 touchdown passes. That is an old facility there. They shut that down. Minnesota hoping Randall Cunningham and lead them into the happy days of the postseason. A win over Detroit would do it. First quarter, pitch to Robert Smith. He makes some nice moves, 26 yards, first touchdown of the game, 7-0 Vikings. Barry Sanders bottled up in the first half, but all he needs is 1 run to get it going, and this was it. A 60-yard explosion through the Vikings defense, part of his 138 yards rushing, his 13th straight game of more than 100 yards rushing. Closing moments, Lions down 13-7. Scott Mitchell to Herman Moore for the 1-yard touchdown with just 2 seconds to play. Moore's pumped. Head coach Bobby Ross loving it. The Lions pull out a thriller at the Metrodome. The final 14-13 Detroit. It's Minnesota's 5th straight loss. Barry Sanders needs 131 yards against the Jets next week to reach the 2,000-yard mark. A Detroit win also puts them in the playoffs. Lions and the Jets. Dan Reeves and the Atlanta Falcons looking for their 5th straight win. Hosting Philadelphia. Chris Chandler hooking up with Byron Hanspard, and the rookie from Texas Tech scores. Game tied at 7 in the second quarter. It was all square at 17 late in the 4th. Chandler screen to Harold Green. He bobs and weaves and bobs and weaves. 47 yards later, the Falcons have the ball at the Eagles' 18. Just a great effort there by Harold Green. That leads to Morton Anderson's 33-yard game-winning field goal as time expires. Atlanta wins again. 20-17 the final. 5-game winning streak for the Falcons, the longest since 1991 in that franchise. Their playoff hopes, though, dashed by Detroit with a win over Minnesota. I know people at home are really thinking the Falcons had a chance. Dallas loses to Cincinnati. Sam's block of the week. Sam, what's your record now? Corey Dillon rushed for 120. Thanks anyway. 29 yards on a touchdown to go over the 1,000-yard mark for the season. New Orleans rallies to beat Arizona. Later tonight, diehard fans can flip on the Bears and Rams. You got to really be a diehard fan. Most normal people will be able to find better things to do this evening. That's mean. That's mean. But tomorrow, a huge game between the Broncos and 49ers. Jerry Rice may return. And that's an outstanding story there with Jerry Rice being injured first game of the season against the Bucs. He could be back for the second to last. Guard Swanson live in Oakland. Guard?
Thanks, Paul. Here with a guy with a big smile on his face. Todd Peterson boots that 49-yarder to win it. Actually, you kicked it with about a little over a minute ago, but it sure felt good, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. You know, this team played well enough to win today, and to have gone through the last few weeks and had some special teams snafus and stuff like that. It was exciting to have special teams impact the game in a positive way and be able to get the job done. So it felt good for me personally, and I'm just thankful the good Lord gave me a chance to come through in the clutch for my teammates one more time.
You boot a 49-yarder. That's a long way on this wet and soggy field, isn't it?
Yeah, the field was kind of the opposite end of the spectrum on either case. I mean, it was either horrible or pretty solid, and fortunately in that situation, the turf was pretty solid in that one area. There hadn't been a lot of damage done to it, and so I knew that if I got a good plant, the snap and the hold would be there, and we ought to be able to come through.
When you hit it, did you know it was going?
Yeah, I did actually. I really felt the ball well. I knew that it was a great hold, and it was straight as an arrow when I saw it. So I knew that it was long enough, and was pretty fired up.
Just a few minutes ago, a newspaper writer said you were kind of having an off year, but you've made 80% of your field goals this season.
Yeah, you know, what happens as a place kicker, the nature of the position is that you're not going to be seen as how many you made. You're going to be seen as what happened in the critical situations. And unfortunately, down in New Orleans, you know, I missed a kick that was a big kick, and the past few weeks, special teams overall has kind of been crazy. And so to get a chance to bounce back is exciting for me, and I think it does wonders for this team's attitude going into this last game. And hopefully in the future we'll be together and be able to win a bunch of games.
And what happened on the block field goal?
You know, I don't know. The snap was good, the hold was good. I felt like I hit the ball solid. We'll have to watch the film and see, you know, what exactly happened. So,
but it was a tough one. But you haven't kicked a game winner in a long time, at least one, not for a couple of years, I bet.
Yeah, I think the Giants, my first year out here was the last time, and then you know, I've had a couple in there that didn't go the right way. So it's a fun thing, and it's obviously a neat opportunity to have and to be in that position, and just thank the Lord it happened this time.
All right, Todd, good luck against the 49ers.
Thanks, Gord.
All right, that's Todd Peterson again, hits that big one from 49 yards out as the Seahawks pull one out here in Oakland. Paul, back to you.
All right, Guy, you know, with the kickers, did you want to say anything?
No, I mean, normally he's always so upbeat, but you can tell that what he's been through, I mean, you would never know that he just kicked the game-winning field goal.
I know, it's almost a shame. You know, Kitna had such a big second half, you almost forget that this guy hit a big field goal off really crappy conditions. But, you know, kickers themselves kind of like to be invisible. They do their job, no one's going to bother them. And like he said, the only thing you remember is the misses. Had he missed that field goal, we'd be talking about it probably still right now. We'll wrap it up with some final thoughts from Sam Adkins, who won another lock of the week. Boy, oh boy, I could be rich. Put a nickel on every one of your bets. Stay with us.
Who says you can't buy taste? My clients do it all the time. Like, let's say I find the most amazing English high-back armchair. Then I better get it in front of them immediately or someone else will. That's why I value GTE Internet. In seconds, I can be online in Tampa while downloading huge files from an auction in Paris. I love shopping in Paris, especially when it's with someone else's money.
This is the home team at King 5, and this is the kind of news coverage more people count on.
Dependable, people know if you're reliable. It's our job to be on top of every story. It's what we do best. Teamwork, I think we have the best people in the business with a real desire to go the extra mile.
Dennis Bounds, King 5 News, coverage you can count on.
I have the best job in America, and one of the best cities in America. And it is really a love affair.
But Norm Rice is quitting after 2 terms as mayor.
It felt like a good time to pass the torch on to someone else.
Sunday's Compton Report, a look back at the Rice legacy, his victories and his setbacks, and what next for the man known as Mayor Nice.
But I want to make it very clear, I haven't died today.
Compton Report, Sunday at 6:30.
Together, they search the globe to find it.
This may be really something. I knew it was true.
Only together can they outrun it.
Let's get out of here. Hurry!
Outgun it.
How intelligent are they?
They're smart. They're too damn smart.
And survive it.
Put them on the endangered species list.
From the creator of Jurassic Park and The Lost World. Congo, the network premieres Sunday on NBC.
We are watching you.
Welcome back to the postgame show. If you're just joining us, Seahawks win it 22-21. Todd Peterson's 49-yard field goal, about a minute to play, winning it for the Hawks today. The playoff picture does not include the Seahawks, and it certainly doesn't include the Raiders. But Kansas City winning today in San Diego, taking control. as we mentioned earlier, if Denver loses to San Francisco tomorrow night, the Chiefs have the lock on the home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Pittsburgh playing some great ball under Bill Cowher. Jacksonville and Denver with those kind of records sitting at wild card positions perhaps. And then you've got New England at Miami next week. And the Jets kind of sitting in. If they beat Detroit next week, they're in. If the Lions beat the Jets, they're also in the playoffs. So that's going to help Detroit. There's Detroit at 8-7. San Francisco 12-2, steamrolling here into Monday Night Football and then into the Kingdom next Sunday night. Green Bay, the Giants are in. A lot of people didn't think that they'd be playing the kind of ball they're playing, but Jim Fossil has done a masterful job with that team with really not a whole lot of talent. Tampa Bay, Detroit, Minnesota's in trouble, losing 5 straight. So, and then the Redskins. Didn't even think the Redskins were even a blurb on the picture of the playoffs. But, yeah, next week it's the Seahawks and the Niners. Big chance for Jon Kitna to make his second straight start. And
what will be the approach Steve Mariucci takes going into this game? Am I going to reserve my starters, or am I going to go in and try to get that home field advantage all the way through?
If you bring a toy, bring some toys for Ties for the Seahawks campaign for the charity. Bring a toy for Sam Adkins, too. He might be up there. He could use a few. For Sam Adkins and Guard Swanson, I'm Paul Silvi. Thanks for joining us.
See you next year.
Players interviewed on the postgame show receive a gift from Alvin Goldfarb Jewelers. At Alvin Goldfarb Jewelers, we love to see you smile.
Wild weather blows through western Washington. Our top story at 5, high winds send this telephone pole tumbling, phone wires and tree branches are down.
It's a scene replaying too often here in western Washington. Pedestrians hit by cars. What some neighborhoods are doing to protect their residents.
Near disaster off the California coast, fire erupts on a fishing boat.
Princess Diana died in this crumpled Mercedes. Now there are reports it's for sale.
And a Husky sale. Legendary Husky coach Don James selling some hot Husky gear.
And there's a new resident at the White House.
Stay with us. King 5 News is next.
If you can't be there in person this holiday season, do the next best thing.
Mom, it's Susan.
It costs so little
Susan.
and means so much.
It's so good to hear your voice.
Life's better here.
Looking for the perfect gift? Chia Herb Garden includes everything to grow fresh herbs in your own kitchen. And with the natural chia growing sponge, it's clean and easy, no messy soil. Place a moistened chia sponge in each clay pot, sprinkle on herb seeds, water, and watch it grow.
Chia.
Cooking with fresh herbs is healthy and makes food taste delicious. Look for chia on the box. Chia Herb Garden, the gourmet gift that grows.
Chia Herb Garden's available at Payless, Bartell, Fred Meyer, and Walgreens.
A great gift choice from the Bon Marché.
So, did you decide?
Yeah, I think I'm going to wait till she asks me out.
Good call, but I meant the pants.
Slates, pleated and no-pleat dress pants from the Bon Marché. The right choices for you. A great gift choice from the Bon Marché. Classic, timeless, sterling silver. Beautiful gifts, now specially priced at 50% off for holiday giving. From the Bon Marché, the right choices for you.